Hello, more Starvaders. We're back with another run. I actually went to play some more on my main file yesterday. Let's go back to the challenge file. Yesterday we had a pretty good run with Shun. We got very lucky by getting this mirror copy of Chain Lightning, which gave us some very powerful high turns. But other than that, the deck itself was pretty functional. It was especially good at producing a lot of mana over successive turns with a combination of Electric Ray, Osmosis, as well as Quick Charge. I think towards the end of the Overseer fight, we had somewhere around like 30 mana available to us each turn. And the biggest issue we faced was actually not having enough cards in our hand to play. Boulder Toss did help quite a lot, because when you have so much mana, a card costing 2 is no longer an issue, and it helped us both deal with distant threats. It gave us a lot of volume, and it also helped us power up Asteroid Belt, which gave us more card draw than usual. Transformer, normally a very mediocre artifact, it also helped us quite a bit, because again, we had so much mana that paying one of it to draw was just no problem for us whatsoever. Gift Card, excellent as always. It helped us grab Dodge or Quick Charge. And through all of that, we were able to pull out a win. I think right now, let's see, how big of a win streak are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're currently on a streak of 6. Let's see if we can do a little bit better today. I'm excited to see if we can make it to 7. Sura. My second favorite, right next to Kaia. She is a combination of Keeper and Stinger. So she has, of course, the core Keeper concepts of having summons, sacrificing them, casting spells, but she combines that with the Stinger card and artifact pool, and this is manifested first and foremost in her basic deck, which contains these Psychic Jabs. These have flow, and causes each of your summons to hit an adjacent invader. And to help with this, she has these polyps, which are very similar to Zen's and Iris's summons in that you make them, and every turn you're able to push them one tile in the cardinal direction. This can help you reposition them, or bump into enemies, and destroy them. But polyps have 2 important caveats. One, just like Garu, the more polyps you have on the field, the more mana it costs to summon them. And also, whenever a polyp is destroyed, a random invader is shocked. Lastly, to tie the entire room together, Sura starts with this very powerful spell called Harvest. It lets you sacrifice one of your summons and strike all adjacent tiles. And when you do this, each entity that you destroy with Harvest draws you a card. This includes the polyp that you sacrifice, as well as any enemies or items that you kill. So a very powerful play pattern you can get into is play some polyps, get them into position, harvest and sacrifice one of them to kill some enemies, and then you can draw into a bunch of Psychic Jabs and fire off a flurry of attacks. Just like Garu, her starter artifact is just the fact that she is able to get Stinger cards and artifacts. But again, just like Garu, I think her starter deck is so strong that she more than makes up for this. Just like the rest of the Keeper cast, I think all of them are very powerful in their own right, because the inherent nature of Keeper gives you so much agency and potential for micromanaging and sequencing correctly to maximize advantages. I've had very good experiences playing with her, and we'll see what we can do today. Let's get right into it. Alright, what are we starting off with? Starting with a advance. A free advance actually seems very strong. Moving an entity 1 to 2 tiles, and very importantly, if you move one of your summons, currently it's not that good because it just moves a polyp, but if you move a summon, no matter what it is, you get to recharge it. This can be a totem, which when you move it, it gets to draw you another card. This can be a dragon, which lets you fire off another quote-unquote nuclear strike. I think Advance, especially when it's free, has a lot of potential. And I wonder what second card we're going to pick up here. Spear Jab is very interesting. It has a lot of... This is a card that I think yesterday on Shun we really would have appreciated. I did not thoroughly review the log, but I think I had a chance to pick it up at some point, and I almost wish I did, because this is a very good way to convert excess mana into card draw. It strikes 3 tiles in a cardinal direction, and for each entity you destroy this way, you draw a card. Text that's very similar to Harvest. In practice, this basically is a 2-mana hit that draws you like somewhere in the ballpark of 1 to 2 cards, and if you get really lucky, sometimes 3. I think I'm going to give this a shot. We're going to pick up Advance and Spear Jab, and we'll see where it takes us. Obviously, just like we talked about before, this very naturally synergizes with Psychic Jabs, which can convert any excess card draw that you have into an advantage because they have flow, which means that when you draw them, not during the initial draw phase of your turn, they become free. With this start, I'm going to look to pick up more mana generation. Be it more ways to repeatedly sacrifice our polyps to shock our enemies, be it more ways to generate shock naturally, or maybe we could even find ways to discount our spells. Some examples being Multipass, the Egg, Wanderer. I think all of those would have a lot of potential, but that's enough talking. I think I'm going to pick up these two and just move on. Just before that, though, I do want to talk about the other ones here. Refresh. This is a card that I've had a pretty good amount of success with. It just lets you basically get a reset on what your hand currently is. By default, it shuffles your hand and discard back and draws you 3 cards, but the upgrade here is it lets you draw 2 extra. However, when you cast it, it does get purged. I think I could see an argument for skipping out on Spear Jab to pick this up, but I'm always a little bit hesitant to pick it up, even though it is a very strong card, because it does not persist in your deck. It usually just does its thing once and then it gets purged, so I'm not sure how much it'll contribute to the strength of the deck long term. Cleave, a totally serviceable card. It strikes all of your adjacent tiles, and just like Psychic Jabs, it does have flow. I've never been particularly impressed by it, so I'm not super tempted to pick it up here. Lastly, here we have a rare card, Jabbercadabra. A very fun take on this like intersection between Keeper and Stinger. This is a jab that, well, strikes an adjacent entity or draw a card, but this very important line of text on here says, if an item was destroyed, you can transform a random non-boss invader into it. You don't have control of which one you transform, but one of them will just get turned into whatever you destroyed with this, as long as it was an item. This can be a spiderweb, this can be a bomb, although that will usually also destroy your summon, so I haven't had a lot of successes doing that. If you have the Tectonic pack, Spawn a Boulder, that will also work. But the biggest and most important application of it on Sura is the fact that you can hit one of your own summons with it, which are actually considered items. If you line up 2 polyps, one of which you are haunting, and you attack one of them with Jabbercadabra, it'll actually turn a random enemy into a new summon of yours, which is a very cool line of tech. It's just that I have experimented with this card repeatedly, and it's never felt very impactful. The nature of it transforming a random non-boss invader, not only does it deny you money, it's kind of difficult to predict exactly how it will help you during a turn, because, well, you don't know which invader it's actually going to turn. Worst of all, because of how specific the setup needs to be, you don't have the luxury of firing this off early in the turn and then reacting to what it does. Because usually, to make good use of Jabbercadabra, you'll need to reposition your summons, moving them, which means spending mana, spending cards. And by the time you actually do Jabbercadabra, your ability to react to it is going to be very limited. as such, I don't feel a great need to pick it up, although I think on my own time, when I do play Sora again on my main file, I will continue trying to experiment with this card, because it is both very fun and I think powerful in a unique way. We are unfortunately just not going to play with it today. All that being said, the boss is Shambler. I'm not particularly worried. The only one that I would be very afraid of is the Eclipse, although because of how the keepers are, most of their summons can just move themselves without playing a move card. Even the Eclipse does not phase most of the keepers. Alright, I think we're off to a pretty good start here, and I think we're going to continue that trend. I think any viewers who have seen me play the other keepers will know I am particularly fond of taking a spell early. Sura's starting spell is totally fine, but it always helps to fill up these two other slots quickly, because every single turn, once they have been used, they will keep cooling down, and when they come back off cooldown, it's as if you've drawn both a card and the mana to cast it. Anytime you have a spell that's ticking down, it is generating free value for you, which is very good. And picking it up early will also sometimes give us a build-around direction for us to work towards, which can help us build a cohesive deck. So we're going to head down here and pick up our first spell. The starting modifier is not bad at all. In fact, you can consider it good. It can be helpful in some ways, and we'll see how that comes into play here. Something I really want to do here is actually to just Spear Jab up here, but that would lock us into being here, which means that our one Polyp will die. Not the biggest fan of that. In fact, this is an awful lot of pressure so early. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a Polyp here, and then we're going to end our turn. This will give us 5 mana next turn because of the Keeper's inherent ability to store up mana. And we're going to hope to have a big turn with Harvest and blow up a bunch of these boomers so that we're able to kill a bunch of them all at once. Alright, let's see what life has in store for us. That is excellent. These Rocketeers are going to do us a huge favor by trying to hit some of these enemies for us. I think to start, I will actually kill this Polyp with that. This will help us. Let's see. So if I remember correctly, yes, this means that this guy will hit. So if I remember correctly, yes, the enemies act left to right, and then one road at a time, going like this. So if I'm correct about this Rocketeer will fire first, killing these two, and then the game will check until it makes its way to here, at which point this Rocketeer will fire here, killing this Rocketeer, as well as these two, and then this final Rocketeer will fire here. So as it currently stands, I'm pretty happy with these developments. And so, I think what I'm going to do is this. I will run this guy here, and I will run him up to help us shock one more invader. What I do wonder now is if I want to... I think here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to kill this Timing Girl ahead of time so we can cash in on its money now. I feel pretty confident about how we're going to handle this fight. The rest of these invaders don't pose an overwhelming threat, and we should be able to finish this fight off fairly gracefully. But, you know what I love to say, never say never. Something could, in theory, always go wrong. So yeah, handling these last two Rocketeers should be very easy for us, but I'm not one to easily leave my guard down. Because because we have bumped into our enemies a bunch with our polyps, we have generated a large amount of junk in our deck, but as the fight is over fairly quickly, that does not matter. Well, the game's really pushing us in this direction today, wanting us to either take a Slash or a Bind Soul. Both of these are very powerful spells. Bind Soul especially works well with our earlier theory of wanting to get a bunch of mana generation to it. Yeah, for those who have not seen either of these spells before, Slash is a 2 cooldown spell that lets us sacrifice a summon and hit everything in its row, whereas Bind Soul is a much weirder card, or spell in this case. It lets us sacrifice a summon, and then when its cooldown is reduced, it reduces the cost of a random card in our hand this turn. This is, in its own way, a weird way for us to basically generate a mana every turn it is on cooldown, and of course, if we find ways to accelerate its cooldown reduction even further, say with a Soul Cage, or cards that reduce spell cooldown on play, this has the shot to give us a lot of mana. So the question now is, if I want to pick up Slash for more output and consistent sacrificing, or if I want to pick up Bind Soul so that we can get more mana reduction and feed into this engine we have of Spear Jab and Harvest. I think I will be picking up Bind Soul, although this is a very tough choice. Yeah. I think having this mana generation engine is going to be very important for us. And it will let us make much better use of Spear Jab. Alright. I've already given my spiel earlier. This is once again a node with Bomb Mania, which is one of the easiest modifiers we can run into. I am not particularly afraid of this line of enemies, with the one exception maybe being the Martians, who can spawn and immediately put a lot of pressure on us. But I trust that our deck will be able to handle it. So this Martian is going to immediately start channeling Doom, which is not very nice of him, but you can pretty easily just kill him. So, I think to finish that off, we're going to sacrifice this Polyp with Bind Soul. I guess that's the trouble with this, isn't it? That, yes, there are fallen angels, but we can't actually profit off of them too easily. So I think the best thing we can do right now is just, kill the Time Angel, let this one go, and we look to finish off the rest of these invaders without too much issue. Next turn, we're going to be going up against two separate invaders who are channeling Doom. This Boomer, who will require 2 attacks, and this Martian, who will require 1. Is my theory correct? Yes, it is. The thought that... I think I observed it with Nessie this one time, but it seems that these guys obey the same logic of, if a invader is channeling Doom, it actually will not... regenerate its shield, which is very convenient for us. So I think this is what we'll do. This guy goes up here, move him down here, and then we will Psychic Jab. This is going to store up a lot of mana for us with both of these Boomers, as well as the tick down from Bind Soul, which means we're able to do something like this. That will end the fights. a smaller payout than I would have liked. This means we're going to be going into this first fight extremely underfunded, but I somehow suspect we will be okay. We'll have to see though. I remember having some success with Enhance before, Hatch as well, but I feel like neither of these really excite me. Enhance I think would be a very fine pickup here, just making our deck stronger as the fight goes on. But I kind of, after picking up Bind Soul, a spell that does not impact the board but instead generates as mana, I would really like to pick up something in the vein of a Fireball or a Attract, which lets us affect the board and damage threats that we deem necessary. So this might seem a little odd here, but I am going to reroll this selection of spells. A Symbol, that is an excellent pickup for a variety of reasons. That works with Advance. That lets us cash this card in to move a totem and then draw an extra card with it. This lets us find extra targets for Harvest as well as Bind Soul. This also draws us more cards so that the ability to by drawing more cards, it makes the mana deep discount on Bind Soul more valuable. I think, yeah, it also lets us respond to threats globally with the help of Psychic Jab and Harvest. I think I was not actually thinking about a Symbol right now, but I do believe it is exactly what we need. We'll pick up a Symbol here and feel very happy about what just happened. And, speak of the devil, here is one of my favorite artifacts in the game, and I think with both Harvest and Bind Soul, we're going to have a lot of ways to sacrifice our summons here. Quick Draw would actually be excellent to also pick up, but again, we unfortunately did not make enough money for this to happen. I think we absolutely have to pick up Soul Cage here, and it is going to feed massively into our engine. Some other acceptable pick orders here, I think Quick Draw plus Nothing Personal Kid would both be pretty good. Having 2 copies of this very excellent card, I think would go a long way for us. And Quick Draw lets us pick up one of these Polyp cards and immediately make it free, while also reducing the cost of a random spell in our deck, in our lineup. But I think Soul Cage is just way too convenient for us as far as an artifact that lines up with exactly what we want to do. I'm going to pick that up and feel very happy about the current state of affairs. Shambler, not the biggest fan of it. Oh, Tick Invasion is terrible. It is just awful for us, but I think the only 2 that I would consider throwing away would be Doom Ritual and Aegis Invaders, and while Tick Invasion is a very difficult and annoying card to play around, I think as a keeper we'll have ways of maneuvering that can make this a little bit more bearable. Whereas with Doom Ritual or Aegis Invaders, the pain that those inflict on you have, I think, little to no counterplay. But in any case, we will be accepting this. We'll be taking on the Shambler. Let's see what the Shambler starts us off with today. Okay. So I think I'll start with getting the Symbol, draw into 1 more card, see what options we have access to here. I think then I'm going to yes, I think then I will keep this. Yeah, I think I'll actually keep this Polyp here, because this will mean that this Meagle will walk down twice next turn and end up exactly here. It might be tempting to use this Wanderer just because we got enough mana for it thanks to Bind Soul, but I think waiting a little bit here will actually be very prudent. This Polyp, I think, is exactly where we want it to be, because both the Echoes And the Rocketeers will be targeting down this area next turn. Actually, hold on, let me think. Maybe wandering to here is the right call, because that centers all the firepower around here, which is where the Shambler will be here, this Shooter will be here, and this Rocketeer will be here. I think this actually maximizes the potential for us to score some friendly fire next turn. I could have used Harvest here, but we're currently out of mana and we won't be able to take advantage of any of the extra cards that we draw with it, so I'm going to wait a turn and see what else we can do here. Because we're embedded so deeply in these enemies and they're going to cover our tracks this turn, these Echoes cannot shoot us, which is excellent news for us. Interesting. Ah, yes. I think this is the discount from Bind Soul. What we're going to do here is actually sacrifice this Olive, which gives us, I think that destroyed 4 entities, the 2 bombs as well as the 1 Migo here, plus the 1 Polyp. That gave us quite a lot of ammunition for this turn. Let's see what we can do with it. So this Polyp is going to be free to play. Let's move it up. And then let's stab this guy. Move up. Strike. Strike. I think then I'll move down here. This is similar theory to what we experienced a second ago, where I think the goal for us here is to both make it very difficult for the Echoes to snipe us directly, while also maximizing the potential for the Shambler and all the Rocketeers to score some friendly fire. I don't think we're going to succeed in that this turn. But I think we're still going to be totally fine, as long as we... I do suspect this might be a little more difficult than I gave it credit for. I think I will prepare a Polyp down here. This should mean that, yeah, this Rocketeer will walk down to here this turn, which should make it impossible for either of the Echoes to shoot us. But we're going to have to work around this tick being present, as well as that. I don't think we're in any immediate danger because of these 2 Autobombs, but still, that is not very convenient for us for a lot of reasons. I think I'm going to sacrifice this. That gives us a small discount on the rest of these. You know what? I think something else we can do here is actually to do this. This will cause 3 separate entities to be destroyed by that jab, which gives us a little bit of extra mana. The question now is what to do with the rest. I think I can then go up here, Psychic Jab him. It's becoming very difficult as it stands to completely avoid being struck. Although maybe the key then is to just wedge us into here. This means that this Echo cannot hit us when it's its turn to move, and this Echo will also not get a chance to do it, because at that time the Shambler will be in front of us. So that also means that I think we should keep this Polyp right around here. Next turn we'll have access to a single use of Assemble, and hopefully some Spear Jabs will be here, right on cue. Sorry, some Psychic Jabs will come to us, and we can make good use of them this turn. Let's start with this. So what are we gonna do now? That will actually kill this first echo, which is not bad at all. And that will also help us secure even more opportunities for friendly fire on the enemy. I think I'm actually just going to wait where we are. It looks like these enemies will be very happy to take themselves out like this. Unfortunately, that tick did spawn, which kind of messed up everything for us, but I do think we're going to be more than fine, even as we are. So something I really don't want to do is to accidentally take out the... Yeah, okay, these two Rocketeers are both shooting here, so this Echo will for sure be stopped. Don't need to worry about that happening. Fortunately, I think this means that this polyp of ours will still be killed, but despite everything, I feel like we are actually doing surprisingly well. So I'm going to play that guy, do something like this, and then this gives us two separate psychic jabs to play with. I think what that means afterwards is that I will be sacrificing this polyp so that we can keep bind soul on cooldown so that it can keep taken down. Okay, I'm actually feeling very good about where we are right now. As it stands, I think there's next to no way for us to lose. But once again, I love saying it, never say never, right? I think these danger zones should happen before the tick gets to take its turn, so I will not actually have my polyp killed by the danger zone there. So I think I can get a combo of 3 this turn. So if they lead then... Oh, hold on. Yes, this will also work. We can do this. Which lastly lets us finish off the Shadow this way and give us a cool $6,000. We have 2 very excellent cards. Actually, 3 excellent cards, boss relics here. Hydrokinesis, which can give us even more card draw than we need. I'm not sure we necessarily need it at this current juncture, because a Symbol, Harvest, and Spear Jab all give us a lot of extra card draw. Ritual Blade, also a excellent artifact under the right circumstances. It combos all the other 3 keepers actually naturally synergize with it because they all have cards that say sacrifice in them. Even though we are a sacrifice themed deck, we don't actually have any any sacrifice among our cards. All of it is predicated on us casting our spells, so we don't really get anything out of the Ritual Blade at the moment as well. So both of these excellent on their own rights, but not today. The one I really am eyeing is Voodoo Doll, which every time we sacrifice the summon we're currently haunting, which, as you can see during that fight, we are doing a lot, it's going to help us strike a random shieldless invader. This is going to give us a lot of extra outputs, and if we were on the beach pack, which unfortunately we're not, if we were, there is this artifact called Lucky Dice, which would one of its effects was, if I remember correctly, that whenever a random strike happens, it always targets the invader that's currently channeling Doom, which would take Voodoo Doll from like a pretty good artifact into an insane one. Unfortunately, that's not going to be possible for us today, but I do like this artifact enough to still just take it in this case. And I just took a small break, but we are back. This time, facing the choice between a tactic / move or an artifact. I think Keeper has a lot of very, very good artifacts, some of which I wouldn't mind picking up right about now. To be fair, Soul Cage is among the best of the best, but I do think there's still a shot for us to pick up some other excellent ones. Let's see what this gets us. So, in this fight, it looks like we're literally just fighting these 3 Sponge Pluses. This is a test of outputs, for what it is worth. We are just expected to put out as much pressure as we possibly can, and essentially work. Oh, I actually missequenced there. I've, within this very short duration of time, already forgotten that we had Voodoo Doll. I will need to watch out for that in the future to make sure that we get as much value out of it as we possibly can. So, what I'm going to want to do here is actually, I think, kill this Time Angel as soon, because we were down a rewind token, and I do think we're going to be more than fine taking the rest of these guys on, but I am going to do that just to trigger Voodoo Doll, because even if your summon that's destroyed is not sacrificed, even if it just dies by other means, it will still trigger Voodoo Doll, for what it's worth. And lastly, I think, as it currently stands, we're going to be totally fine. That will take care of the fight. Not a lot of money from that, but did not require us to get too much work done. This is a tough choice. Mainly between Wormhole and Toymaker here. I think Toymaker is a deceptively powerful artifact, because it really improves your consistency by making sure that you almost always have access to these summon cards in your hand. It, in a sense, also draws you extra cards each time you do not play one of them, because they're like kept in your hand as extras instead of drawn normally. Baloney, this is a card that an artifact that I think synergizes a lot better with Iris, because she has the inherent ability to just keep generating junk in her deck over and over, whereas us, it's a little bit more difficult. In order for us to take advantage of it, we kind of have to deliberately get hits with our summons, which is never something that you want to do. The last one here is Wormhole, which I think I've professed my love for it a while back. This is one of my favorite artifacts. It gives you it lets you leverage your reroll tokens to really make sure that, like, these fights do not go sideways, even in the worst of circumstances, because you're just able to reroll and then gain a warp to fix all of your problems. But I do think Toymaker helps us enough here that I'm going to pick it up. Maybe I'll end up missing the wormhole, but we'll have to see. I wonder if I want to pick up a rare card here, because I think this is a encounter that we can clear with relative ease, or if we want to just pick up another artifact still. I have a feeling that with this reasonable amount of cash, we'll be able to just buy the extra cards we need from the shop, whereas an artifact tends to be a lot more expensive. And yeah, I think we'll be able to still handle whatever this encounter throws at us, but maybe it's time for me to eat my words. Not exactly. I have a feeling that we're going to be just fine. So let's start us off with a assemble. So because these virus plus are present, some of our cards cannot be used freely because they'll have this virus component on them. Every time we cast them, we will cause at least 2 of these guys to duplicate, which is not something we really want to do. So what we're going to do in the meantime is actually to just play this game that we normally play of sacrificing our stuff, triggering Doodle Doll, draw extra cards. I think it'll also be helpful for us to have the cards that we have on the floor circulate a little bit. I do not mind that at all. I think we're off to a pretty good start here, but okay. Great news, a new virus is not spawned. That is very good. Bad news, the Tick Plus just spawned next to my Polyp, which is going to make our life a lot harder than it maybe needs to be. But we'll see. We'll see. That caused that one virus to duplicate. I think the next thing I'll do is just kill that. This looks like it could shape up to be a very tough fight, but I have faith in our ability to overcome this. Oh, that was really bad. Dear God. So, the virus component here reads that the virus invaders have to replicate to an adjacent tile. I was able to play that there without this guy making another copy because he had no free adjacent tiles to replicate to. Well, doing that felt pretty good. We'll see if this can keep up. Okay. I'm going to start off by doing that, which builds us up a combo. This turn we're going to be definitely killing this Time Angel. What I'm currently looking for is ways for us to score a few extra bits of combo before killing it so that we can profit as much as possible, but I don't think that is going to be easily done here. So in response, we're just going to teleport up like this and do a little bit of cleanup. Awesome. So just to finish up here. Are we able to kill this last one this turn somehow? There are actually multiple ways for us to do it. I will be doing this. And this is over. Or I guess I should do this first. build up one extra combo before we take care of this last guy, and that's 200 extra bucks, which might not seem like a lot, but it has the potential to do some pretty fun stuff for us. Okay, this is an excellent pickup for us, specifically Sura, because Static Shock, normally a very mediocre card on other Stingers, because most decks do not have the ability to like take advantage of it fully unless you get some very specific combination of artifacts and cards. My favorite Stinger, Kaia, is actually, even though most of her deck pushes and pulls, you'll be surprised how little she can make use of it, because this effect does not synergize well with her traps. If an entity is pulled and then killed by her traps, the Static Shock mana actually does not get refunded to you. Sura, however, is able to use Static Shock extremely well, because all of her summons will be pushing themselves constantly. And every time they move using that method, they will be shocking themselves. And if I remember correctly, us sacrificing them actually gives us the mana using the shock, which means that Static Shock is going to continuously generate mana for us turn on turn. This is going to synergize with Spear Jab, it's going to synergize with Assemble, Harvest, Toymaker, all of these cards that give us extra card advantage. The more mana we're able to accumulate, the more effectively we'll be able to use them. So I'm going to be picking up Static Shock here and feel very happy about this. Nessie is going to be a tough cookie to crack, but I think we're going to be very well prepared, especially if Min has some very good things for us. Two extremely tempting pickups here. Rosary and Gift Card. I feel especially compelled to pick up Rosary here because it is a very reliable way for us to just, first of all, overcome tick invasion, but also when we play our polyps, if we need to use them to bump into enemies, as long as they were played this turn, Rosary gives us free reign to do this. As well, it also allows us to withstand other attacks from, let's say, the little, what do you call those? The echoes, etc. So we're going to be picking up Rosary, and I think to round this off, I could remove something, but something I'm actually looking at very favorably now that we have Rosary is Bash. This is normally a card that's pretty difficult to use well, especially for a keeper, because you need to push your mech, which will be one of your summons, in a cardinal direction until you collide. This usually destroys your summon. It isn't very good. However, in this case, let me just check. Yes. In this case, we'll be able to summon something, give it invulnerability with Rosary, and then immediately Bash. We can also, in this case, Assemble, Bash, we can play Apollo, Bash, we can do a whole lot of different things and on top of being this nearly global ranged attack, it also draws us a card. I think Bash is going to be a very good pickup for us here, and with the acquisition of these two, I feel very confident going to Nessie. Slow start, not great, but I will still accept it over some of the other much more worrying cards, modifiers that we could potentially pick up. So that's yeah, there is Bash in all its glory. So I think I'm going to find Soul here. Oh, that killed the tip. That killed that guy. Interesting. So I think then I'm going to do this. This will trigger the Static Shock, which when this tick or either of these fellas hit us, that'll refund us the 1 mana. I think it should in any case. Oh, it doesn't. That is really weird. I thought for sure that it would, but what can you do? In any case, let's... So yeah, I waited one turn to kill this blighted apple because I wanted the worm that it summoned to I wanted the worm that is summoned to be killed by Nessie instead of walk down this turn and threaten us. But I guess even if that worm walked down, it would not have been a problem. I guess I made a mistake there. It's okay though. Unfortunately, that charge on the collar will again be consumed this time. Oh, I guess not. Well, excellent news for us. Not so excellent news. There are a lot of apples on the map, and we kind of need to clear all of them, or else Nessie is going to tear us a new one. Let's see what we can do in that department. So that's this apple taken care of, as well as this one, but still we're going to need to try and kill this one and this one. Oh, maybe not this one actually, because that will be killed by the bomb. I think we're actually just going to be pretty okay with taking it easy this turn. Yes. I will be killing that, throwing us an extra card here. And kill this blighted apple. Yeah, whenever I actually go... Something that I don't think I've mentioned yet, even though we've been playing Keeper for this long on these days, is that each Keeper starts with this inherent 3 summon limit, and whenever you do exceed it, the game quote-unquote punishes you by making you sacrifice the one that you were haunting before you summoned this extra 4th one. For us, that is actually an excellent opportunity to make use of both Soul Cage and Voodoo Doll, because that not only does the polyp dying give us more shock on the enemies, it also triggers Voodoo Doll, which strikes a random enemy, and also gives us a Soul Cage trigger. Yeah, this deck really is just humming along wonderfully, and I'm pretty proud of what we've built here so far. Big payout from the Echo as well. I think this fight is proceeding about as perfectly as I could ask for, which is rare. You know, you gotta admit it when the game does just give it to you on a good day like this. Yeah, that clears everything that we've wanted up, just like so. if you needed any reason as to why I really enjoy playing Sura, this fight should be a perfect demonstration of it. She's able to get away with some insane stuff, but you do have to kind of dig deep into all the nitty-gritties of the game to fully understand everything. Let's play the Spear Jab, which gives us a good bunch of hard draw, among other things. This does mean, Messi's going to try to kill both of these guys. That just killed us. Well. Anyways, that was awesome. Well, what to do now? I'm actually pretty interested in just playing Starter Fluid. Our deck does not have any legendaries, even though Old Comet does sound very fun. We're not going to be able to get much mileage out of it. Focus is totally fine, but again, not that interested at this current juncture. But what I am interested in is Starter Fluid, which, at the very least, it lets us play 2 polyps for the cost of 1. When we start at 0, normally, when we have 0 polyps on the board, normally playing 2 polyps would cost us 3 mana and 2 cards. But with Starter Fluid, not only do we get the repeat, we also get the quote-unquote discount, because we're spending less mana to reach a higher number of polyps than is normally expected. Focus has its moments. It actually has its moments quite a lot. If you get a spell that actually works with it, usually it is going to be excellent. Some examples include Fireball, Linkify, maybe a little bit less on some of the other ones. But unfortunately to date, our bottommost spell does not have a number on it. It just says spawn a totem, so we're not going to be able to make use of it. I think the correct pick here is going to be Starter Fluid, which will really round out our already excellent engine and take us to the next level. Oh man, they're just tempting me over and over and over and over. I can't say no to another artifact, man. They want me to say no to it, but I don't think I can. Although, there is some argument to maybe upgrading something. I don't think it's exactly necessary, though. There are still a lot of very good artifacts that I would love to pick up. You could make an argument for actually going to a rare card at this point, because we have picked up probably some of our best available ones. And Astromancer Legion with just a Dark Channel is going to be very easy for us to beat. You know what? I think I'll be going down here, actually. The Astromancer spawning a very large amount of tiny little guys is also going to make it very easy for us to build up a very high combo. That should, in theory, give us a much easier time give us a much easier time building up a large combo. Although, to be fair, I am not making great use of that, because I am killing all of them so fast. Even before any of them have made any little asteroids, I've already killed the majority of them, although it sounds like, well, rather, it seems like the invaders were listening in. They heard me talking shit, and guess what? Here they are, ready to take me. Let's see how many they can throw at me. I think it does make sense for us to do this here. Trigger Doodle Doll. Yes, I will continue making use of this text on what is it? Starter fluid as well as toy maker. As it currently stands, I think we can almost guarantee that every turn we are going to start out with a like once, maybe not actually, but every turn, even if we don't have any summons, we can almost always deploy 2 polyps immediately. And if we need to sacrifice them, that's no problem. If we need to do some other stuff, that's also no problem. Yeah, I think I kind of see now the way for us to really go places. That would be for us to be able to pad out our summon count with the totems in the early game, and then when we do end up double casting polyps later, it'll be for a much cheaper cost, and we can reliably trigger that combo I discussed earlier, where we exceed our summon count repeatedly, sacrificing the old ones, which makes everything hum. In the meantime, though, I am beginning to feel the pressure, at least a little bit, but still, I suspect we are going to be totally fine. Yeah, waiting for this 1 extra charge on the totem is going to be pretty painful, but it would seem that we're going to be totally fine. Yeah, I think I will just do this. It's not the most efficient use of that ability, but I do suspect we're going to be totally fine. That is good. That means now we are able to put this fella here. Although maybe I should have put it up here to help with that. I'm not sure. Now we can shock both of these. Let's get this out of our hand, why not? Draw another card. Ooh, interesting. The Time Angel is unfortunately going to get away, but it is whatever. Yeah, as much as it was at least a little bit tantalizing to think about the possibilities of like sacrificing this polyp, sorry, this totem, I think the winning strategy for us is, as I've talked about, like keep 2 totems on the board, which will make this summoning process a lot less painful. Alas. And I think we'll do just one more time. Why not? Yeah, we're going to be saving this assemble until next turn, where we'll be able to do this. Then we assemble. Draw an extra card. Put this fella right here. I think the last thing we need to do is just this thing. Yes. This guarantees that we kill both of these, and that's a wrap. Some interesting ideas here. Chain Lightning might actually be pretty good for us for a long list of reasons. But this card does get purged, and we don't have a reliable way to recur it. what I am very interested in here is Mega Blast. It's going to be a pretty hefty mana investment, but it synergizes with all the other stuff that we have been doing so far of sacrificing our summons, helping us detonate them. I'm not entirely sure, actually, what I like here. I think there is an argument to just picking up Chain Lightning. The one trouble with it is that we're going to be shocking our own summons quite frequently with Static Shock. There is a chance that on occasion it is going to make us kill our own summons when we don't necessarily want to. But let's pick up Mega Blast and just have a good time. I think it is going to be a very good card for us. And what the hell? Let's take on the Void Spawns. So yeah, I now know that in order for this deck to function at its very best, we're going to need to play this totem with the intention of keeping it. This way, just like we discussed before, we can afford to keep a bunch of these polyps on the board and sacrifice them even without the help of all of these sacrifice spells, because once we fill up our summon limit entirely, we can just cast 2 polyps every turn. One of them gets sacrificed, which in turn triggers both Moodal and Soul Cave. You know the rest of the drill. Let's see. I made a mistake there. A very small one, but still, I should have made sure to move that one polyp before sacrificing it to make sure that I got that one extra mana. However, we're going to finish off this fight just fine. I was gassing up Wormhole all that time ago. I think I will be backing my words up here and just picking it. Nemesis, Mystery Bear, both of these are... Mystery Bear, I think, is just a very underwhelming artifact. The quirk about legendary cards is that a lot of them require your deck to be built around them to shine at their best. If you look at Gunners, some example of this include Annihilate, which is a very much, and Detonator. Both of these are very bomb-centric cards. Some other ones I can think of are Fire Everything, which again requires your deck to be built in a very specific way to maximize them. With Mystery Bear, you never know what's coming, which means that a lot of the time, this artifact that you spent like a very big opportunity to pick up will just give you a random card that does not do anything for your deck. And in addition, this legendary card that you pick up doesn't even go away after you cast it. So if it's a bad card, it's just stuck in your deck for the rest of the fight. Not a big fan of this one. Nemesis, totally okay, but I think Wormhole is just better by miles and miles, especially when we've made it to these final fights, and I really like some insurance policies. Multipass, I think, is totally fine. Reposition, not the biggest fan of it. I'm actually kind of tempted to spend one of our restocks here to get us a few more chances at spending our money. I think I will pick up Blink. This is basically a card that, like, when you draw it, you automatically draw another card. It, in a sense, does not eat up a card draw whenever you draw it. It's kind of just like free air in your deck that you have the option of using if you want. Yeah, we got 33,000 bucks. I think it would be a shame to not use any of it, so we will pick this up. Do I care about Boiling Bubble? Boiling Bubble, oh yes, Boiling Bubble is one of the other ways for us to synergize with Baloney if we did have it, because the bubble that it generates every time we shuffle our draw pile is a junk, which would help us reduce our spell costs. Yeah, unfortunately we can't make use of Spell Slinger here. There are no cards in our deck that actually mentions spell. But I think I'll pick up Boiling Bubble, and what would I actually want to copy with Copycats? A lot of good choices, actually. I wouldn't mind having an extra copy of Polyp or Mega Blast, Blink, Bash. We actually have quite a few like fine cards to copy here, but I do wonder if I should instead just get rid of a Wander, because we have picked up a few extra moves here. Bash, I do count as one of them. A Symbol also gives us a lot of global reach. It's possible that we just don't need this fourth Wander, and cutting it will make our deck a little more consistent. I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. Alright, feeling extremely good going into this final fight. Aegis Invader, in the early game it would have been a very big pain, but I do think now that our deck is fully online, it becomes very difficult for even one of the goats of difficulty modifiers to phase us. So we're going to start off with an Assemble and aim to keep this totem here for as long as we possibly can. I want to sacrifice this totem in order to fuel Bind Soul. I don't think so. Like we said before, our like top priority is actually to get 2 totems on the board if we can help it. And going by that theory, we're also going to try to protect it if we can by moving it out of harm's way. Although that would make our deck turn a lot, and I do mean a lot worse. Oh, these guys are not making it easy for us. I must give them that. Maybe I just need to pivot our plans here, because I don't think the Hemocyte is a fight that is like very amenable to us keeping a high number of our summons around. Maybe the correct answer then is to just have a slight adaptation in our plans and make sure that we're still able to do the things that we want. Ooh, this is going to be a tough turn, but I think we're going to do just fine. going by the theory again before, I am going to try to cash in on this, on our ability to protect our totem whenever we can. Oh, they're not making it easy, just like we said a bit ago. But I suspect we will still be totally fine. So that one's not gonna matter. The placement of this one will matter. Yeah, Rosary, I think it is a very easy artifact to overlook when you initially start playing Keeper, because it doesn't sound like it does a lot, but it is probably one of the most, if not the most, impactful artifacts I've ever had the pleasure of playing while piloting this class. It just is able to give you so much flexibility. I guess that's going to be a bit of an issue, isn't it? Because I was hoping to be able to... Yeah, I made a bit of a mistake there. But I suspect things will still be totally okay. Thankfully, that did not cause the main hemocyte to spawn yet more purple blobs, which would have been very troublesome. Excellent. I think this is the turn where the hemocyte will once again try to channel Doom, but because we've done a reasonably good job of killing them, there is only actually one single channeling hemocyte here. Then, oh yeah, we should do this. Sacrifice it, cash out on the mana, make another guy. I suppose it doesn't hurt to just keep protecting our totems with a shield there. This should give us another bubble. Very good. Oh, that's kind of not what I expected. Which I don't know why I didn't expect this, but this will actually cause us to sacrifice our one totem here, which is not ideal. I guess this might be about as good as it's gonna get as far as like allowing us to do our quote-unquote thing. I think at this point there isn't much more to talk about other than very tiny micro decisions. I think we have managed to build a very powerful deck with what was given to us, which is always something to celebrate. here. Dash upwards, cashing on the mana. Go here. Go left. This. Cashing a bunch more of the mana. Polyp. Run Polyp again. Do this. Soul Harvest it, and why not? Why don't we draw another card? Just for fun. Yeah. We're just dancing circles around the Hino side at this point. Which is in some ways what you want to see. 3 turns left. Maybe that is something that we have been struggling with, which is like outputs. Something else to be a little bit concerned about is the fact that like we're not going to see a Polyp this turn. This is actually going to kill both of our totems, which is a little bit of a problem, but we should still be totally fine. 2 turns left. Might have made a very big mistake there with what I did. Okay, this is looking pretty bad, but I think we'll still be able to make something happen here. The main reason here being this. All that it would take for now for us to win is for us to somehow land one solid hit on the Hemophage itself, and that will end the fight for us. That does end the fight, although that was looking a little scary, I'm not gonna lie. Alright. My old friend Overseer, let's see if you can stop me. This, get a little bit of mileage out of that, and then I think I'll do this, and then sacrifice some of these fellas. That should be a pretty respectable first turn. Well, we just need to keep that up. So a good question to start off with is where do we want to hit? Where do we want to hit Spear Jab this turn? I think the answer to that is we want to be here and then use it to strike upwards, which means our placements should look something like this. This will draw me one card, gain me a mana back. Very nice. And in the vein of what I was talking about earlier, I'm going to try my best to preserve this totem of mine. Yeah. Let's think. What should we do here? I think I'll start with... Oh, yeah. If I'm going to do that, I should start with this. Shock that. Get the mana refund. Draw the card from this. Go here. Yeah, something that you can actually do with the Overseer hands is that if you're able to use one card to like damage it multiple times simultaneously, the invulnerability won't actually come online fully until you finish resolving your spell entirely. If you saw there, by psychic jabbing it with 3 surrounding summons all at once, I was able to damage it 3 times instead of only once. This triggered its thing 3 times, which actually is very helpful here. This won't always come in handy, but in these situations where it does, it can be very impactful. I think what I'm going to do here is just this. Yeah, not a whole lot else for us to do here. I think, yeah, the Overseer is just going to require us to hit it 2 extra times, and then it'll be okay. So yeah, the last thing that we need to do here is to just deal 2 damage to this final hand, which I don't think is going to be very difficult, especially considering that that's what's going to happen to us. Cash in on this fella. Then... yeah, then we just do a little bit of troll, and this first phase is over. I suspect we're going to be able to have a very good time during this phase. that's given us an incredible amount of shocks on all these random Chaos Swarms. Something else to keep in mind too is that even if something were to go incredibly wrong, and we really are up against it, something we can always do is to cast the reroll here, which would actually grant us a wormhole. I'm very happy that we actually haven't yet to need to use it, even in a pretty hairy situation like this. Here's something I think I'll do. Let's use this, draw 3 more cards. Screwdriver. Ash. Yeah, this deck is just humming along beautifully. I think we're gonna cut it there. Once again, one of the biggest concerns with this fight is you do not want to trigger the quote-unquote secret extra phase a little bit too early, where if you kill most of the Chaos Swarm and only leave a few alone, something that they can do is start channeling Doom even though they have not reached the Doom Zone, which can be very awkward for pretty obvious reasons. So let's do this. Now that there's only one of them left, I feel very safe about going to this last phase here. It's a bit unfortunate that I had to use that use the starter fluid trigger on that move, but that's what you gotta do sometimes. I will do this and then run it up here. Yeah, I am, at this point, suddenly reminded of something that I myself said a very long time ago, where, like, if you really strip Starvaders down to its base components and parts, this is really just a game about, like, drawing a bunch of cards and having the mana to play a lot of them. We take a lot of different routes to getting there, of course, but at the end of the day, if you can confidently say that, hey, my deck can consistently draw a very large number of cards and produce the mana necessary to play them, guess what? You will be able to deal with just about everything that the game throws at you at that juncture. Jeez, I accidentally triggered that phase a little bit too early. This might be trouble. We'll see, though. I actually don't feel great about this turn. You know what, I'm going to rewind and make sure that we don't trigger this phase a little bit too early. Right, I guess I've never explained quite how the Overseer Phase 3 works. Basically, anytime you kill every single... every time this Phase 3 starts, she'll spawn a selection of Chaos Hearts and Chaos Blooms, with every successive wave putting out more of them. The idea being that every time you... I wonder if I should just... You know what, I think this might be the best use of our time here, of just drawing a Zentillion cards with that. Yeah, so let's see. Every time all the hearts on the field is killed, she will spawn a bunch of Chaos Blooms and Chaos Hearts. The Chaos Blooms, if we make it to the next turn with any number of Chaos Blooms and Chaos Hearts on the field, all the Chaos Blooms will begin channeling Doom. And then, if we make it to the next turn with no Chaos Blooms on the field, all the Hearts will begin channeling Doom. So something you actually want to do during this phase is to, in a sense, like sandbag killing them off too quickly if you can help it. Because if you do it too quickly and just kill the Hearts, the old Chaos Blooms will still be present on the field while the new ones spawn successively, which can be very bad news for you if you don't manage it correctly. So now, this is what I would call an ideal way to end a turn, is to either end with just one Chaos Bloom on the field or one Chaos Heart on the field that you're able to kill immediately next turn. And this will then allow you to kill it, transition to the next phase, have a whole turn to yourself for dealing with all the new ones that show up. Which can go a very long way for a lot of reasons. I think something I'm going to try to do here is this, yeah. Draw a card, do this, draw an extra card. Fantastic. So now, on the grid, there is only one Chaos Bloom left. This is exactly where we want to be. So this will help us take care of this Chaos Bloom. This will be just where we want to be. Yeah. When next turn starts, this one last Chaos Heart will trigger, and then we will kill it and transition to the final phase of the boss fight, which is this. We can then, now that we have our entire turn ahead of us, we can just very leisurely take care of this however the hell we want, essentially. Yeah, let's fire off the Stinger Assist first. I think this one is going to benefit especially off of all the enemies here being very close. And then hopefully the Gunner Assist can help us pick off any straggling parts. Okay. Very good. One more hearts, maybe? No more hearts. Okay, I think, yeah, we're going to be very, very easily able to finish off the rest here. And that's a wrap. Whew! That was an extremely fun run. I really enjoyed that. Give the aliens a whole handshake. You know how the ending is. Alright. That was an extremely fun run. Let's just do a quick little debrief here. So, what did we do today? We played a tradition. We played a sacrifice deck, which we actually played something similar with Zen last time, centered around Reaper. Still, Soul Cage was very pivotal. But while this was a deck that used Reaper to sacrifice its creature summons and whose main game plan was powering out a Meteor Fall, we mainly used all of our sacrificing to take advantage of Voodoo Doll, which helped us damage enemies whenever our main summon was sacrificed. Some other things that also helped was Static Shock, which synergized extremely well with all of our sacrificing, because whenever we shocked one of our own polyps and then sacrificed it, that refunded a mana for us. Yeah. This was an extremely fun deck to pilot and play because it gave me like a lot of options every single turn to like creatively use everything at my disposal, draw more cards, figure out clever ways to generate mana, deal with threats right as they come up. That was a really good time, and that's going to put our win streak at 7. Pretty excited to see where we can go. I still, after playing all this time, am dreading having to eventually play Zeke again, because even though we managed to win with him that one time when we rolled him on this challenge, I still feel very scared of having to pilot him into impossible. He's really going to struggle in the early game against like the vast majority of encounters, and even in the late game, he still isn't going to be excellent. But that's going to be for the meet tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, though. But today, though, we did win, and that's what counts. In the meantime, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!